The role of Buddhist monasteries, Sangha, in pagans' political and social life. Introduction: the monk's robe and the king's crown. Imagine a landscape dotted with thousands of shimmering pagodas and vast monastic complexes, where the sound of chanting fills the air and the wisdom of the Buddha guides daily life. This was the reality of the pagan kingdom, a powerful and devout Buddhist empire that flourished in present-day Myanmar between the 11th and 13th centuries. At the heart of this civilization lay the Sangha, the monastic order, an institution whose influence extended far beyond the spiritual realm, shaping the very political and social destiny of pagan. But what was the true extent of the Sangha's power? How did it interact with the kings and the common people? And what role did it play in the rise, the unique character, and ultimately, the challenges faced by this remarkable empire? This exploration delves into the multifaceted role of Buddhist monasteries in pagans' political and social life, revealing a symbiotic relationship that was both a source of strength and, eventually, a point of vulnerability. Chapter 1. The Sangha as a pillar of royal legitimacy and state power. The relationship between the pagan monarchy and the Sangha was deeply symbiotic, with each lending crucial support and legitimacy to the other. Royal patronage and merit-making. Kings, most notably Theravada, enthusiastically embraced Theravada Buddhism. This patronage was not just a matter of personal piety, it was a cornerstone of royal legitimacy. By donating vast amounts of land, wealth, and labor to the Sangha, kings accumulated immense merit in the eyes of their subjects. Building temples and monasteries was seen as a supreme act of devotion, demonstrating the king's piety and ensuring his spiritual well-being and continued prosperity for the kingdom. This act also visually demonstrated the king's power and benevolence. Guardians of Dhamma and royal authority. The Sangha, as the custodians of Buddhist doctrine, provided the moral and philosophical framework for governance. Monks advised kings on matters of Dhamma, justice, and statecraft. The king's role as the protector of the faith was central to his image and authority. A pure and flourishing Sangha reflected positively on the king's reign, while a corrupt Sangha could undermine his legitimacy. State control and purification. While powerful, the Sangha was not entirely independent. Pagan kings periodically undertook purification of the Sangha. This involved assessing the purity of monastic practice, disciplining wayward monks, and sometimes even reordaining monks from Sri Lanka to ensure doctrinal orthodoxy. These purifications served both religious and political purposes, allowing the king to assert control over the Sangha's vast resources and maintain its public image, thereby reinforcing his own authority. This intricate dance between crown and robe ensured that the Sangha was not just tolerated but actively integrated into the state apparatus, serving as a powerful ideological and administrative tool for the monarchy. Chapter 2. Economic powerhouse and social hub. Beyond their spiritual functions, Buddhist monasteries and pagan were formidable economic entities and vital social centers. Monastic land ownership. Through centuries of royal and private donations, monasteries accumulated vast tracts of tax-exempt land, known as Sangika land. These lands were worked by monastic serfs or tenant farmers, making the Sangha one of the largest, if not the largest, landholders in the kingdom. The revenue from these lands supported the monks, funded temple maintenance, and provided resources for monastic education and charitable activities. Economic development and labor. Monasteries were not passive recipients of wealth. They actively participated in the economy. They often spearheaded agricultural development, especially wet rice cultivation, by organizing labor and managing irrigation systems on their estates. The building of thousands of temples and stupas also represented a massive mobilization of labor and resources, much of which was directed or influenced by the Sangha. Centers of learning and education. Monasteries were the primary educational institutions of the pagan kingdom. Monks were the literati, responsible for preserving and transmitting the Pali Canon and other Buddhist texts. They taught not only religious doctrines, but also subjects like astrology, medicine, and languages. This made monasteries crucial centers for intellectual life, attracting scholars and students from across the region. Social welfare and community life. Monasteries served as vital social hubs for the lay community. They were places of worship, pilgrimage, and festivals. They also provided basic social welfare functions, offering shelter, food, and often acting as intermediaries in local disputes. For the common people, donating to the Sangha, even small offerings, was a way to accumulate merit and participate in the broader Buddhist cosmic order. The economic self-sufficiency and social embeddedness of the Sangha made it a pervasive force in the lives of all pagan citizens, from the king to the humblest farmer. Chapter 3. Challenges and Contributions to Pagans' Decline. While instrumental in pagans' rise, the very power and wealth of the Sangha also contributed to the empire's eventual challenges and decline. Strain on state resources. The ever-increasing amount of tax-exempt monastic land, accumulated in perpetuity, meant a shrinking tax base for the crown. Over centuries, this eroded the king's ability to maintain a strong army and loyal bureaucracy, as he had less revenue to pay officials and soldiers. This created a structural contradiction within the pagan state. Internal divisions within the Sangha. While the ideal was a unified Sangha, in reality, there were often internal divisions and rivalries between different monastic sects or powerful abbots. Kings sometimes exploited these divisions for political gain, but they could also undermine religious authority and social cohesion. Moral decay and loss of discipline. Periodically, the Sangha would face accusations of moral decay or excessive worldliness due to its immense wealth. This necessitated royal purifications, which, though aimed at reform, could also be disruptive and lead to resentment. The perceived purity of the Sangha was crucial for its legitimacy and its ability to attract lay patronage. Cultural legacy and preservation. Despite these challenges, the Sangha's role in preserving Theravada Buddhism was paramount. Even after the fall of the pagan empire, the monastic order continued to be the torchbearer of Buddhist traditions, language, and culture, ensuring its continuity in subsequent Burmese kingdoms. The thousands of temples that the pagan landscape today are a direct legacy of the Sangha's architectural and artistic patronage. Conclusion: a sacred partnership. The Buddhist Sangha in the pagan kingdom was far more than a spiritual organization. It was a powerful, landed institution that profoundly shaped the political, economic, and social landscape of the empire. From legitimizing kingship through merit-making and providing a moral framework for governance, to serving as economic engines and vital centers of education and social welfare, the Sangha was an indispensable pillar of pagan civilization. While its immense wealth and influence also posed long-term challenges to state finances, the enduring legacy of pagan, its thousands of magnificent temples, and its deep-rooted Theravada Buddhist identity, is inextricably linked to the symbiotic relationship between the monarchy and the monastic order. The history of pagan is a powerful illustration of how faith and power could be intertwined to build and sustain a remarkable empire. What do you find most interesting about the relationship between religion and state in ancient empires like pagan? Share your thoughts in the comments below.